Welcome to the 199th broadcast of the T-ROH show. This is your host, Keith. We've got an eventful show today, so I'm going to give away some of the things that we've known for a very long time and have basically been watching people just stumble and everything because they simply won't go and read a book. When they don't go and read the law of nations, we watch them stumble and can't really do anything about it other than watch them and listen to their crazy claims and all this other kind of stuff. So check this out. All right, I've got John with me. Mark Adams. He's going to be kind of a second witness on this deal, and he does the John Adams show here. Now he reads Dark Light. Now you did call the guy that wrote Dark Light, right?
Yeah, I contacted him to make sure it was okay to, just to give him credit, and he wasn't asking for reimbursement. He wanted us. He said all I want is just to know that I wrote it. That's all.
Okay, what was his name?
I forget at the moment, but I did I did list it in the first show. I think I did.
Open introduction to episode.
Well,
okay.
It might be the second or third one. Anyway, his name is mentioned, and we talked about that for a few minutes.
Okay, all right. And you're going to be putting some more on because your computer went down and all that kind of stuff. So you'll be putting some more of these pages in. Now, folks, this is very difficult to listen to. Just letting you know. It's very hard to hear because it completely changes the way you see the Bible and the way you see churches and everything else. It's the way you see Jesus. It's the way you see our Father in heaven, the way you see the Holy Spirit. Everything changes. And that change is very difficult for people to deal with. You see some serious implosions going on. Okay, so just letting you know, it's just very difficult. That's all I can say. Okay, now I want to show you a couple of things here, just to set this up because we got another reply. Anna. Anna von Wright. She's been served. We're suing her again for the attempted murder. And she writes back, and I wanted to show everybody something. Now, first of all, I want to show you this. Okay, the Vatican is very concerned about this, or they know this because what we did was the Reign of Heaven Society Temple hereby claims original ecclesiastical jurisdiction and spiritual matters, no longer a void to be filled by a foreign monarch. So that kicks the Vatican right out of the country. This was done on 3/27/2019. It wasn't a big deal. We just popped it in there. Okay. So I know that they're, based on the reactions we're getting back from one of his agents on the going after her for attempted murder, how she's writing things back and just outright stealing stuff. Okay. Shows us that that's what they're trying to get done here. And I wanted to put in here, it says, okay, there's another one. Is this switching, John?
Excuse me. Yes, it is very nicely.
All right. So the Reign of the Heavens Society has grown since its creation 4 years ago. This was in 2016. Now, in the middle of claiming the United States of America, revamping the country, fixing the metes and bounds, doing all this other stuff, setting up the metes and bounds for the states so the governors wouldn't get rid of them because the governor of Oregon was telling everybody, hey, they removed the metes and bounds from the constitutions. The lawyers did. And they were setting up a new world order. So we were doing all that. And in the middle of that, in 2012, we rediscovered the Reign of the Heavens, which is a country. And we created a society. That was it. That's all it was. It's been attacked and trashed and attacked and trashed and for no reason whatsoever. It's just attacked. It says it's grown since its creation 4 years ago. Firstly, it was a society. That's firstly. Then reformed into a faith-based organization, which created the Reign of the Heavens Society Temple. Okay? It was reformed. It's been gone. It doesn't do business like that. The Reign of the Heavens Society itself, absent the Reign of the Heavens Society Temple, has been reformed into and hereby introduces the Fraternal Order of the Reign of the Heavens Society. Its mission and its membership shall uphold the UDHR, Convention on the Rights of the Child, which has later been done away with. The head of the Fraternal Order of the Reign of the Heavens Society is da da da. So it's no longer the Reign of the Heavens Society. It's a either Reign of the Heavens Society Temple or the Fraternal Order of the Reign of the Heavens Society. So the Reign of the Heavens Society is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Okay. So, and I'm not trying to get away from any of Crazy Anna's accusations because all of them are baseless. She has no, she is the most envious woman I've ever seen, and she covets everything we do. She's like right now, she's like an obsessed groupie. And she not only wants to be us, she thinks she is us based on her actions and what she's doing. She's has convinced herself, Anna von Reitz and Wilhelmina and all that, whatever blah blah her name was or is, literally believes that she has done what she thinks she's done, and she's trying to convince everybody else. When in fact, everyone knows. Everybody that comes up to us and says, "Yeah, that Anna von Reitz, the freaking thief," and everything else, everybody knows it. Okay. She doesn't know or think that everybody knows it. She has convinced herself that she is us. It's gotten that
when you
bad.
can't prove that, isn't that delusional?
Yeah, it's horrible. This is what she sent back when we noticed her, because she freaks out every time we send her stuff. She freaks out and goes off the deep end. But it says, this is international notice that the Reign of the Heaven Society. Now, when did she start doing international notices? Gee, after we were doing them. She stole our stuff. Again, okay? That the Reign of the Heaven Society is a pirate organization. Okay? Once again, Reign of the Heaven Society doesn't exist. Hasn't existed since 2016. I just showed you. Okay? Now, infringing upon our good name, patents, and copyrights claimed by the United States of America and unincorporated Federation of Sovereign States. Okay. Now, she didn't know anything about the United States of America. In 2015, she was claiming to be a citizen of the United States until she realized we made it into something. Then once we made it into something, all of a sudden it became hers. She thinks in her head. She's delusional. She's been a convicted thief. At her own, it's her own, what do you call it? It's her own delusion. All right. Now, it is further noticed that the Reign of the Heaven Society has no right, title, or interest associated with the given name reference, and that as pirates, they are subject to the international law pertaining to pirate. Okay. The Reign of the Heaven Society has no right, title, or interest associated with a given name. I just said it's been out of business since 2016. We've said this before. She knows this, and yet she keeps doing this. This is called delusions, folks. She knows this. Okay? Laws pertaining to piracy and attempted human trafficking in high seas. Well, go try to get somebody that's a member of the Reign of the Heaven Society. Why don't you go do that? Nobody's going to raise their hand. Nobody's a member. It's all thin air. It's all a shadow that you're throwing your fists at. Okay. Now, it says pertaining to piracy and attempted human trafficking on the high seas, as known as outlaws, pretenders engaged in conspiracy against the constitutions and evasion of all conventions, eluding the Geneva Conventions, Hague Conventions, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and Nuremberg Code. So she's got the Reign of the Heaven Society, man, as a terror group on the high seas. And she knows that it's out of business. So she's intentionally publishing lies. She knows that. Either that or she's just retarded. I can't tell whether she's a retard or she's doing it on purpose. And she knows that she's lying. I think she's just a retarded liar. That's what I think. Anyway.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it is hard to tell. It says the Reign of the Heavens organization is known as a criminal syndicate, advocating racial purity, elitism, The quasi-Christian notions equating the Virgin Mary with the Great Mother and similar apostasies. Now, John, have we ever mentioned the Virgin Mary?
I'm sorry, never once have I ever remember us mentioning the Virgin Mary unless it was in a conversation in a group that was talking about something that was being misaligned. But no, absolutely not.
No, we haven't done it. Have we talked about anything about being racial purity? I know we just talked last week, or I did, that we don't even have the word race on any of our forms.
No,
None of our
correct.
government forms. The word race doesn't exist.
That's correct.
Okay. And elitism.
Nowhere to be found.
Right. So, no,
form.
we do not have any association with the Democratic Party.
Right.
Or the cabals or these international guys or whatever. Okay. They have attempted to claim an interest in now wait for it, folks. Did I not say, John, that when I said the word country, that she would use this in the near future?
You did. Within the last month or so, I distinctly remember listening to it, and it stuck in my mind until you asked me today. And yes, that is exactly what you said.
And I said, I put country, and I said, watch, she's going to use the word country. And lo and behold, they have attempted to claim an interest in our country, the United States of America, built on prior piracy committed against us by the Scottish Commercial Corporation established under our name for the purpose of identity fraud and credit fraud in 1868. I thought I did find that. I don't think I did. I have no idea what the hell that is. Do you?
Not at all. The only comment I would say is whoever's following her in that and not doing their homework because they can't see past the delusion, y'all need a health check. Y'all need to check up somewhere.
Yeah, you need to go to some kind of counseling or something if you're not checking up on this. You got to follow. Okay, everything we do, we back up, man. Okay, before Crazy, and when I'm talking about Crazy, I mean Anna. Before we even knew who she was, we were working on the United States of America. She didn't even come close to it or get near it until around 2015 or something like that. This was 4 or 5 years after we had already revamped it and redid everything for it. But we made something into it, so she's trying to steal it. She covets everything she sees. Coveting means she becomes it. She believes that it's hers. And then she puts these lies out and all this other kind of stuff. To this day, she still doesn't understand, or she's not acting as if she has. Well, let's put it this way. I wouldn't want to be her conscience because that thing is probably guilt-ridden as hell, and I think it's messing with her head. Because this is going off on the deep end out to crazy land. See, when I'm reading this to you guys, okay, and you're hearing these words, you start feeling this tension in the air and all this other stuff. That's what it's like to be around her. That's who she is. Now, when we're talking, we just start laughing, okay? Because we don't work from offshore. None of this is any true. This is so far from the truth, it's unbelievable. This is a completely made-up farce. Okay? So they have no contract with the referenced non-domestic person, no just reason to complain, and are criminals engaged in international crimes of piracy, unlawful conversion, identity theft, Okay, great. Now, let's see your affidavit. Put it in an affidavit. You won't. I guarantee you won't, because then you're responsible for the lie. Guaranteed you won't do that. You will not sign an affidavit or anything proving what this is. Okay, then you have to come forward and prove that this is who we are and what we're doing.
That's right.
You will not in any way, shape, or form do that. Just like I told you that country, you're going to use country and try to steal it or try to tell everybody that you've got it. Okay? Now, folks, I think I remember doing this, and I'm going to give you a hint right now. All right? There are a lot of people around this country. The rest is just garbage. Let me write it. It's garbage. They have no contract referenced on the person responsible for these false claims and fraudulent legal processes pursued under the color of law and pretended authority. Okay, now we're under the color of law thing. These men and women have been born on our shores, but they are traitors and not Americans and not acting in the capacity of Americans. This is called attempted murder. Okay? We request everyone in the international community to take notice of the fact. She didn't even know what the international community was until we told her, okay, that there was one entity called the United States of America, exactly, and we claimed it 5 years before you were even thought of in this whole thing. And we have proof of it all the way back. Do we not, John?
Yes, it is documented and proven, and people just need to come and they need to do their homework. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Likewise, only one American woman named Anna Maria Wilhelmina, blah, 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 blah. She owes no allegiance to any incorporated pirate organization pretending to be the United States of America Incorporated. Nobody ever said that. We have no idea where the United States of America Incorporated is. It doesn't exist. We got the original one. We were there a long time before you. We did all the hard work. We spent 16 to 18 hours a day reforming this, trying to find needles in the haystack, trying to find what was going on, and doing a lot of research and talking and everything else. We did that for 3 years. So, crazy bitch, you are not going to steal it. You're not going to get it. You have failed. You need to go back to your master, which is Francis, who is Francis, and you need to tell him you have failed. You're now a convicted thief, and you will be a convicted murderer under attempted murder. Just letting you know. Because we know one thing, you're not going to show up to the court case because you know you can't prove that you didn't do it. Just the same as the theft. You went all the way around it. All the way around theft, never even acknowledge that you did steal anything.
She's so delusional, also, that she's makes light of what's been given to her in a judgment or a sentence, and she will find out. It's very crazy how she's acting. So.
That's messed up. It's really messed up. Okay, now everybody knows that. Now we'll get to the fun stuff. So that's what we're telling everybody. None of that crap is true. She's all she's trying to do is to get everybody up in arms against us, so that somebody will take that crap serious and think they're doing that. We're stealing from them, when in fact all they have to do is your person is sitting offshore within the Internal Revenue Trust. What we do is deliver it back to the states of the union through your declaration, and it's free.
That's right.
Okay.
100%. Yep.
Now, any kind of claim to a royal claim, okay, royalty claim, any kind of claim whatsoever. Here's the secret, folks. And you have all these guys that call themselves sovereign. Then they claim to be royal, like Anna von Reich. She claims to have royal title to the country and all this other complete bullshit. Now, I let this go on for quite a long time, and I did it on purpose because I wanted to see how far Crazy Bitch would go with her bullshit royal claim. And I said, hey, it's treason to do that. Why is it treason? Okay. Guys, all these people calling them king this and queen this all around the country. Oh, they have a sovereign trust. They have a queen and king that. And then you've got, oh, the seal of the United States belonged to my rapist husband. And it was his inheritance, so he inherited the country and all this other crap. All right, now this is going to be probably one of the most massive embarrassments I think that anybody's going to have to deal with. Okay, Anna and all her followers, you have to have a social compact that gives you royal powers, and that's the only time you become what they call a sovereign. So all these idiots call themselves king and queen. Where is the social compact wherein your subjects gave you their authority of government, wherein you would be known as the sovereign of those people?
Oh, wow. Unbelievable.
Where is it? You have absolutely none whatsoever. So, Anna, you are ripping people off, telling them that you have some kind of freaking royal claim to something. You have no royal claim to something because you have no social compact from the so-called people. Okay, that you're basically your customers is what they are. You have no social compact from them giving you any form of a royal claim or royal power, which means what? You are stealing from them. So, what you are accusing us of doing, you are stealing. You're the one that's doing the stealing. So, whenever we get close to, uh-oh, she might be done as a thief. In other words, convicted as a thief. Oh, too late. She already is. Okay. You're coming in and going, oh, this is our non incorporated federated states. No, that's under the U.S. Constitution, dipshit. That's not under the United States of America. So she's trying to play off like the United States of America is the Constitution. That's what she's doing. Folks, she's not. And then she tries to claim that there's a lowercase t and a lowercase u, and that there's a constitution with that. I've already proven that that doesn't exist. It never has. There's no English guy in New York that has a copy of whatever the hell she's talking about.
The wow factor in that is past wow. What do you say? That's so fun. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's a joke organization created by an obsessed woman that is so jealous and has coveted so much and trying to run from so much liability that she has just lost her mind. You have zero royal claim to the country because you have no social compact that delegates the people's authority to you as a monarch over them. That's called a social compact. There's two sides of the law of nations. One deals with monarchs, another deals with a republic. Get it?
Oh my, wow.
And she doesn't. I'm sitting here watching her say, "Oh, I've got a royal claim. Where's your land patents? Where's your patents? This." And it's like, you dipshit.
Saturn. I want to say Saturn. Not. That's the epitome of Her Highness has no clothes.
That's right. She's got absolutely nothing. Okay. Now we're going to move on. I'm going to show you what's going on in the many men, okay, have been going to jail for non-payment of child support. Okay, even if you're up to date, they're going to jail for child support. That's sad, isn't it?
It's beyond sad. I'm hearing and seeing a social credit system of some sort come into their life.
Okay, J.D. Peacock II, the Circuit Court of Florida's First Judicial Circuit in and for Okaloosa County, is accused of filing false police reports. All right. Now, many men have been going to jail for non-payment of child support. This does not necessarily mean that the child support was not paid. There is a scam in the system created by the American Bar Association. The clerks have been filing false police reports against fathers in order to collect more money when than what is owed, so the clerks can receive more collection fees. This practice terrorizes families and breaks them up because the father is placed in jail for non-payment, gets fired from his job, and makes him homeless. The details are in the affidavit and indictment at the links provided. Okay. Let me go ahead and pause this. I'm going to go grab it. Okay, this is the affidavit, and take note there, Anna. This is an affidavit, okay? just let her know what that is. Now, the affidavit hereby states the respondent of the blank, okay, has been filing false police reports, the subject matter of child abandonment against the affiant for over 17 years. The affidavit hereby states that the respondent has been compliant with the legislative history of the statute, starting with Public Law 81-734. Within the legislative intent of the legislation requiring state welfare agencies, listen carefully, guys, this is what started the whole fiasco that's happening now that the communists are using against everybody else to steal shit. That's all they're doing. Requiring state welfare agencies to notify appropriate law enforcement officials upon providing AFDC to a child who has abandoned or deserted, who was abandoned or deserted by a parent. That's word for word. Okay. So what happens is this is the affidavit states is that the respondent is using the term delinquent to describe the following intent. Okay. So when you get a bill in the mail, the clerk says, hey, you're a delinquent. You're delinquent in your money. You got to pay me money. Okay, remember that guy? All right. He comes by, you're delinquent. This is legislation required state welfare agencies to notify appropriate law enforcement officials upon providing AFDC to a child who was abandoned or deserted by a parent, thereby hiding the intent of the claim made by the respondent as actually accusing the affiant of abandonment or desertion of a affiant's child. Delinquent is not defined as abandonment or desertion of a child. So let me get this. Let's get this straight. This clerk has been messing with this guy for 17 years, consistently filing false police reports. So they say, hey, you're delinquent here, when you may not be delinquent. Maybe their records are messed up, but who cares? It doesn't really matter if you're behind a couple of days or a week or whatever else, because delinquent does not mean abandonment or desertion. When you go read the section, matter of fact, I'll go and I'll read it to you. Okay, here's the page. And I'll show you. It says the first child support enforcement legislation was Public Law 81734. The Social Security Act amendments of 1950, which was added blah, 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 whatever. Okay. The legislation requires state welfare agencies to notify appropriate law enforcement officials upon providing AFDC to a child who was abandoned or deserted by a parent. Okay, so what they're doing is that the clerk is saying, oh, you're delinquent. So a trial has occurred that you you have abandoned or deserted your child. You never knew about the trial. The trial was instant, because what the clerk does is go and I'm going to file a warrant out for you to go pick you up for child support, and we're going to throw your ass in jail. Well, where is the trial that took place where you were convicted of abandonment or desertion of your child? Uh-oh. That means the trial never happened. How about that, John?
That's beyond
crazy.
Words. It is.
It is beyond. It is unconscionable. It's beyond anything I've ever seen. Because you have clerks all over the country that are writing warrants and crap because you're a delinquent, but never, ever is the agency that they're working with or from, do they ever do a civil trial to prove abandonment or desertion, which is the only reason for any type of enforcement whatsoever. Any type of enforcement whatsoever. That means the mother could go to jail for this crap. Filing false police reports right along with the clerk. Now they put you ladies in legal peril. The intent of this provision was to enable law enforcement officials to locate absent parents and to prosecute them, if warranted. Was anybody ever prosecuted in any way, shape, or form for abandonment or desertion? If we pull 100 of those guys in, 100 of them will say, no, we've never been tried for that. The cops have never done that. They were supposed to write tickets for abandonment, never do it. Under the various state laws, in effect, this provision made it the job of the prosecutor rather than the AFDC agency to file a complaint or press lawsuit against non-custodial parents who had deserted their families. Well, most of the time they're right down the street or they're across town. There's no desertion there. No, I see my kids every week. So if a father is showing up and on his weekend and everything, and say he gets behind 10 days or something like that because he's got this happening, because we've seen them all the stories of, hey man, I pay every week or month, but I just got behind because this happened or that happened. I'm trying to support two families, the whole deal. They just throw them in jail. Oh, even though you've been getting your children for the weekend and stuff for visitation, all that crap, they just throw them in jail.
That's unbelievable. It's almost like if they're able to do that weekly, monthly, yearly, and go to sleep at night, oh, they got major problems, and it's sick.
Yes, it is. It says here, it says the AFDC agency was only responsible for providing eligible children with welfare dollars. It's not responsible for enforcing child support. And guess where it came through? Social Security. That's what all this crap came from. And what was Social Security? It was a communist organization that put it in. And no, the U.S. Supreme Court never said it was constitutional. All they did was put the organization together on how it was going to operate. They never said it was constitutional. Go read the documents. It was never done. They threw it through. Now, also in 1950, the National Conference of Commissioners of Uniform State Laws, gee, you wonder who they are, okay, and the Bar Association approved the Uniform Reciprocal Enforcement of Support Act. I don't think they're states, are they? They're not legislatures.
No.
A model state law was enacted in all 50 states. Gee, I wonder how. Probably because they had already had all the lawyers in the legislatures
Exactly.
posing as politicians.
Yep. Evil.
You got to have a lot of power in order to get the District of Columbia, Guam, Puerto Rico, and Virgin Islands to do all this at once.
That's right.
This was a well set up deal. Now, if you go in, it says Social Security amendments of 1965 allowed a state and local welfare agency to obtain from the Secretary of Health, Education, the welfare the address in place of employment and absent parent who owed child support under a court order for support. Okay, yeah, they have to have an absent trial. Where's the abandonment, guys? They skip that completely.
Jeez.
And go right to you go to jail, you pay. That's it. Then it gets into, oh, we got the IRS involved. States to obtain from the Internal Revenue Service address of non-resident parents. These are parents that just take off and leave their children. That doesn't happen all the time. They're putting men that are there for their children in jail. They lose their jobs, they lose everything. How are they gonna keep up with that? It's crazy.
Yep.
And it goes on and on and on. So there you go, folks. That's a serious violation of due process. There's felonies involved with it. It's just, do the math on how much you can actually sue that state for this kind of crap. This is nothing more than harassment, malicious prosecution, all this crap, because they skip this step. Just pay it, just pay it, just pay it. It's all that because they get paid for it. The American Bar Association makes money. The conference makes money. The attorneys make money. Everybody makes money on this whole deal. It's a big money scam. They don't give a crap about
that.
That
wouldn't be the home of the land of the home of the free and the brave. I don't think at all.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
No.
Well, this is the kind of crap that all the settlers that were coming over here were trying to get away from. Why? Because they were trying to get away from the freaking Catholic Church. It was the same assholes doing it. All right. There's any statute created that regulates or taxes private property. This is another one. It says man challenges the political status of the state of Kansas. And don't forget, folks, you join the assemblies. That's the North American
County Assemblies.
Yeah, hold on. You got to North America County Assemblies.country. Okay. And yes, it is the United States of America .country. All right. Says as the communist for. Okay. Now we have to draw a line somewhere, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
We got to draw a line somewhere in order to get through what is going on in this country, because there's been some encroachment on capitalism in order to destroy it on a daily basis that everybody in this country has failed to recognize.
That's right.
Okay. And you got to figure this out. You got to understand this, folks. You've got to draw a line in the sand. Okay. So if there is any statute created that regulates or taxes private property by any state means that the state is a communist form of government in that state,
Wow.
no
That's
matter what.
it.
How far are we into communism? You
Man.
notice that the state of Indiana does not do property taxes. They say they're illegal.
Hmm.
Why are they illegal? It's because that's a communist. Communism, uh, uh, communists regulate private property.
Right.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you this challenge. Okay. This is coming from Jeff. We've had him. We've had one of his cases on this show before, about I don't know 2-3 years ago. All right. Comes down the trustee. Blah blah blah. All right. Now, on June 14th, 2020, about 4:50 Central Time. That's pretty accurate, right? Affiant was driving a car leased to the Affiant. It was traveling on silver and blah, blah, blah. Affiant had an emergency situation where a tire was leaking air. So on the day and location, Affiant was pulled over by the respondent for stated reasons was because Affiant was speeding when in fact Affiant was going below the speed limit because of the tire leaking air. Now it says respondent, this is the cop, demanded a driver's license and proof of insurance, and then proceeded to go back to his cruiser. Everybody knows this. Blah, blah, blah. They do the same thing. All right. We all know the drill, right? All right. The respondent is not a party to the lease contract, directly, indirectly, or through counsel. Now, the affiant states and publishes that the affiant and the respondent have a completely different political view of the world. Now, this is not talking about, I got constitutional rights or I got the right to travel. We're not talking about all that crap because it's all crap. That's not the issue in this country. What people are going to have to realize is that you have a communist organization running the country and you are being converted to communism. You just have to realize that.
That's it.
All right. The affiant states and publishes that the affiant and respondent have a completely different political view. The affiant does not have the political option to register affiant's vehicle within a private property registry within the state of Kansas. Private property use used to be registered within private auto clubs and given plates, and therefore capitalism was upheld. If the state regulates any private property, the state is a communist state. So y'all know the Automobile Association, right, over in Washington, D.C.? I can't remember this. It's an old one. It's been here for years. They used to register vehicles. I read it somewhere in Michigan. They were doing the same thing. There was an auto club in Michigan where people that just drove back and forth to work, and it was their private car and stuff, they would register with the Private Membership Association or the club. Then the club would go to the state and say, yeah, we need a couple of plates and stuff like that. It would be about $2 or $3. They put a plate on the car and that'd be the end of it. If there was any kind of, insurance or anything like that, or whatever they did, that would be handled with the club. That was all done privately. You didn't have to go to the state to do that. So since the Declaration of Interdependence of 1976, that's interdependence of 1976, not 1776, and the National Drivers Register Act of 1982, all privately owned motor vehicles are registered as public property, just like a police car. The register is public property. Okay? And therefore, all privately owned motor vehicles registered as public property and licenses issued and accepted by the inhabitants, that would be everybody, guarantees the Communist Party political acceptance within the U.S. state of Kansas. There you go, folks. You have already had a vote between communism and capitalism. All these communists are doing is the will of the people. The will and what you told them to do. But there wasn't any full disclosure. However, the inhabitants were never noticed of this political decision. Thereby, the political decision was deceitful and hidden under a legal process wherein honest services are never rendered. The affiant believes in God and is not an idol worshiper, and therefore cannot approve nor choose communism. Communism is an abomination unto God, and it is. It gets rid of all the churches, like they're trying to do. That's why they attack churches. It gets rid of everything. You think the Church of Satan is going to survive this? They'll destroy that too. Those dumbasses just don't know that. Okay. The respondent is forcing communism upon all inhabitants within the state of Kansas and covering that forced association under the cover of a legal and or administrative process, when in fact all traffic tickets that fund the Communist Party is a political issue to be settled by the legislature. The respondent is a communist, meaning the cop, and the affiant is a capitalist, and therefore any decision by a court on this issue will result in a prejudice against either party and therefore cannot be settled by any court of law. All traffic tickets need to be settled in the legislature because they need to decide whether they're going to be a communist or capitalist state. If the legislature withdraws all of its bullshit regulations and puts in a private membership association under contract of how they're going to operate their vehicle, then that's perfectly legal. Nothing wrong with that. It's that little switch when they say, "Oh, we're now going to have a national register, a driver's register act of 1982. We're going to flip you all to communism because now we have the authority to regulate your private property." Same thing goes with property taxes. Property taxes are nothing more than a state taxing private property. That's communism. You can't get around it. There's no way of doing it. You can't get around it. This affidavit went to the lawyer. He had a lawyer there. They appointed him. You know, they're going to force a lawyer on you, right? He recused himself that morning. I'm not putting in the paperwork he's got. I'm not going to. No. It was hilarious. I'm withdrawing from this case. I'm not putting that paperwork in. There's no way I'm going to put that in there.
Right.
That's hilarious, man. I listened to him. It was in a tape. He said, because he actually taped the session. They just didn't realize he was doing it. And then the judge starts berating him. You know, she just starts. This is. She didn't see this. She saw some prior paperwork that came in. He wouldn't put this in the paperwork. He wouldn't file it. His lawyer wouldn't. So they hadn't seen this yet. So he's going down there to file it again. They gave him another lawyer, by the way. And they said, and then the prosecution says, well, any delay is going to be, I want a motion to put any delay of trial is going to be on him. Because what they had to do is they had to go back to the Constitution. So he was guaranteed a speedy trial. So the prosecution didn't want to get burned for no speedy trial. See, they know what they're doing.
Yep.
They know they're running the courts like communist courts. So he pulled that on them, and they did a couple of other things. They got their ass caught. So, folks, you want your country back? Just draw the line. Anyone that comes up with, if people start coming, well, how do we pay for this if we don't have property taxes? Communist. I don't give a damn. I'm not going to sit here and fund communism. It's not going to happen. You're going to figure out another way. That's the way it works. Anyone, and I'm telling you, anyone, the law is clear and everything, the line is drawn. If you want to regulate private property through the state, you are a communist. You're a godless abomination on earth. That's it. It's that simple.
That's right.
You won't even have, folks, in a communist organization, you won't even have the option of worshiping. You have to do it in the closet. You can't let anybody know you're doing that around you because they'll turn your ass in. You'll end up in jail.
Mm-hmm.
I used to, I've seen what they do. Okay. I used to patrol the East-West German border. I've seen East Germany in full communism in its full glory. Try to sit there when you've got a guy with an Uzi sitting in a tower, and he's got his school children right next to him, not 50 feet away from him, that are all playing in the play yard there of the school. The school looks like it's 100 years old, and all the children have black and gray clothes on, clothes that they used to wear in the 30s, and none of them can speak out against the state any way, shape, or form. They cannot protest. You protest, you die. That's the way it worked. I used to patrol that. I know, I've seen it firsthand. You don't have an option. Even if you're an atheist now, you don't have the option of converting in public or anywhere. Your churches are gone. They're closed. That's the way it works. You do not want Communism. Trust me. You don't it. It's a mess.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that I have been able to travel to Croatia one time in my life in 2001 before the towers were hit in New York, and we got back safe. But anyway, when we were over there, uh, they the people are scared to death. They walk around. You can just see it in their faces, the way the way they act. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's kind of like being in the military. You know, you're always waiting for an officer to stop you because you got a button undone. You know, that's the way
Right,
it is.
right.
You know, get your button undone. Get your button. Do this, do that. Shine your shoes, and all this other kind of crap. This is what's you're always on. You're always on edge, and it causes sour stomach, a lot of stomach issues, because your nerves are shot.
Yep.
And you're in constant fear. It's horrible position to be in. So it's you don't want it, believe me. All right, last thing, folks, and then we're going to call it quits. All right. It says everyone knows that it is difficult to ask the CDC to be able to verify the number of new cases of the coronavirus due to health information privacy, meaning they cannot release names. Okay, so they can't say, "Oh, you have COVID," and release your name all over the place, so everybody starts, doing the whole cross thing against you and stuff, right? Every time you go by, they're holding up a cross. It is ironic that privacy is enforced in the medical arena, but little or no privacy is ever enforced in any other area, like getting felt up or molested at the airport. When you're at the airport, it is all out molesting. They're molesting you, is what they're doing.
Yep.
And people have gotten used to it. Here, come feel me up.
Right.
Okay. They've gotten used to it and all, but they said they wonder why the airlines are going out of business. But it's getting old to them. They're like, well, I just won't go flying. I'll drive. Okay. And the airlines can't deal with it. They're like, man, we're going out of business. On the other hand, the number of coronavirus deaths should be easy enough to verify. The numbers by matching the numbers to the names, so we all have an accurate number of inhabitants that have actually died from the coronavirus. That's not too much to ask. I think that should be fine. Now, easiest way to verify is to go to the obituary. So I put a link here, and I'll get back to that in a minute. It says it shows the in the obituaries that one person died in New York on 10/21/2020. This is the New York Times. All right, it's being a pain in the butt. Now, where the obituaries for all of these inhabitants that died from the coronavirus, where are the obits? You would think there'd be a list of people, wouldn't you?
You would.
Okay. They had Randy the magician. Remember him, James Randi? He used to go around and he'd debunk paranormal claims and crap.
Right. Right.
Okay. Now it's changed. All right. But this was when he was on there. There was only one person that died the day before, and that was it. Where are all these deaths? Are they being burned up? Why aren't we seeing the ashes in the air? Where are all these people? Where are the bodies? Where'd they go? Okay. Now, here's a list of some inhabitants that have died in the coronavirus. All right. Now, this one here, this will probably take a second. This is a list of deaths due to COVID-19. So, a list of deaths 2020. Most of them are in China, Iran, very few from the U.S., Spain, Italy. And it's funny that they all got all the people, commander of the Turkish army,
Right.
more than likely got shot or something. It probably wasn't from COVID. France, Italy, blah, blah, blah. The Philippines, Spain, United Kingdom. Oh, there's one from the United States. He's a pianist. He was a jazz pianist. Okay, pianist. And it's funny, every time they do something political, I'm hearing on the street, it says, man, I cannot wait for this election to be over. Then we can stop hearing about this coronavirus crap.
Right.
If the other side gets in, then you're going to hear about it for the next 4 years.
That's right.
So this is a political party, private company that's attacking people is what they're doing. You don't vote for us, we're going to come after you. We're going to make your life a living hell. Then they had an engineer. He was 91. I would probably guess that 91 engineer. More than likely, he died because he was 91.
That I've got to ask this question. I don't think I've ever asked you this before, but it would be when somebody dies of multiple complications and they call it COVID. I mean, my family, I'm going to ask for an autopsy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have to find out what they really died of, and then they just, but what they could be messed, you're going to have an independent one because
Right.
they're going to threaten the guy that's doing the autopsy. You better put COVID-19 down here or we're coming after you.
Right.
Here's a Barbadian Olympic sprinter. He was 69 years old and he died in the United States. Okay. Now you're not seeing a whole lot of people. Now this is all all the way up there, right? We're only looking at, let's go to the numbers all the way down. I'll just give you a hint. It's not 200,000 people. I'm telling you right now. It is not 200,000 people. Dang, that's all we're going. Okay. Here's there's 792 da da da. Okay, so they only have 804 people here. All right. All right, now we're going to challenge the accuracy of this. Now, nowhere the numbers being claimed by the mainstream media. They're claiming 226,000 deaths. Really? Where are the bodies? Seriously? I remember when they put the trucks out there. Remember that? They were going to put the refrigerator trucks. They put three people in there, but they died from something else.
Right.
It says, if we look at this situation from a medical malpractice point of view, we were told that a lockdown would be 12 to 14 days max. Remember that? Around April?
I do.
They said we're going to be locked down for 12 to 14 days max. Everybody can go back to work. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then told to wear masks and do some social distancing. Believe it or not, that is medical advice. And it is. And social distancing, stand here. Okay. 6, 6, 6. You got to be 6 feet away there, 6 feet away there, and 6 feet away there. Does that number look familiar to anyone that's watching this?
Exactly.
Now, does anyone notice a particular number with the aforementioned medical advice pictured, obtained from Canada by the Continental Free Press? If the numbers are going to up in positive cases of coronavirus victims, and the CDC and other agencies keep forcing the mask and social distancing medical advice, would that not be considered medical malpractice? Medical personnel are continuing to force a medical treatment upon everyone at the same time, publishing the number of inhabitants catching the coronavirus going up, wherein the numbers are proving that the medical advice of masks and social distancing is debunked medical advice. Right. Therefore, continued force said medical advice is now medical malpractice with intent to murder patients at large. Right. Okay? Then there's other people that are proving that the masks are basically murder. Now, this is the definition. I got the link there. It says medical malpractice occurs when a hospital, doctor, or other healthcare professional, through a negligent act or omission, causes an injury to a patient. The negligence might be a result of errors in diagnosis, treatment, aftercare, or health management. So guess what you do, folks? If you want to stop this crap, run a freaking civil case right over against the health department down in the county level for medical malpractice. That's all you got to do. So obviously, then you go right to the media and said, hey, this is how many people died. Then they come back and say, oh, well, that's a result of no masks. That's not true. Prove it.
That couldn't be true. I've walked in places where they have a mask on, but they think the virus is smart and it won't get on your hands when you swipe your card.
Yeah, it's nuts. The whole thing is crazy. Especially with a flu bug. So you got Mr. Trump there, okay? He gets COVID. He's out of the hospital in 5 days. Actually 3. He only stayed the weekend. He's fine.
Yep.
So what's all this fear? Then he told you to stop fearing. Now this isn't a thing for Trump. I'm just saying this is what happened. I don't vote in their system, and we have our own government. My person is under the Articles of Confederation as amended. So, but what I'm saying here is that people need to wake up because you are being converted to communism bad. I mean, really, really bad. And it's this is probably one of the most evil forms of communism that I've seen. Because these are some lying sacks of shit, man. I mean, I've never seen so much lying going on in my life from these
Yep,
communists.
it is massive.
And the whole traffic thing, yes. Now, the reason why the cops get pissed off is number one, they're control freaks, and number two, they get a piece of the pie. In other words, they get training hours where they can convert those training hours to cash. Y'all get that now? That's when they write a ticket, they get that in training hours for their job. They train for their job, training hours that they can convert to dollars and go where they want. It's extra income for them. That's why they get pissed off.
Mm-mm-mm.
And they love people that don't have driver's license, registration, insurance, man. They love those guys. That is big time money coming in for them. They get training hours. But sometimes, guys, I'm telling you right now, sometimes blood money is not real money. When you're converting your country into a communist situation, you're doing this to yourself, you're doing this to your children, you're doing this to your families. It's all affecting your families too. So maybe you just, take the money that you get, your paycheck, and then not worry about these traffic tickets and start converting the country and start supporting people that are trying to push the automobile associations, which you guys have, right, John Mark?
That's right. That is correct. People in the U.S., whoever the law enforcement is, to stand up and do the right thing, you would get more respect, I think, a little bit.
Wouldn't have to look behind your back because these communists are coming up shooting them right in the head. It's like 1,000 cops have been shot, just
Yep.
murdered straight up by communist, Democrats and Republicans. They're both pushing it. They've been
That's true.
pushing this 1982 crap for a long time. So you can't tell me that the Republicans are not communists. They've got the whole system set up like it.
Right.
So right now let's just put an overview on this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and publish this booger. Okay. Thanks for listening to the 199th broadcast of the T-ROH Show. We do appreciate it. We are up to, from last week, we were over 800,000 in views on our website, on the website itself. Not counting what we get in YouTube, but those numbers are not even close. We've got about 23 to 25,000 on YouTube. The numbers are all messed up because we go and find out how many we get from YouTube. Okay. Anyways, you've got to make a choice here. This is not about electing, in this situation today, this is not about electing two men, okay, Biden or Trump. They're only in there for 4 years, no matter which way you look at it. So what happens is the next guy that gets in just turns it all right back. That is not a good system to have. It's a very sorry ass system. When the politics of a group of people can be changed at a whim under executive orders. Not a good idea. That's a bad setup. Okay, that's a disaster. So this is why we're showing you you need to do the assemblies, and you need to start standing up for yourselves, because if you don't, they're just going to run over you. They're punks, but they're going to run over you anyways. They're they run over you when they know you're not going to fight back, okay, or push back, or start showing them the error and stupidity of their ways. This is stupid. You've got grown men, police officers, pushing communism. They know it. They have to know it. But no big deal as long as they get a little training hours. A little cash here and there. It's easy. Just paid you off. The communists paid you off to push communism. Ooh, didn't see it that way, did you? You didn't see that as a bribe, did you? As a communist bribe. So easy to bribe you off, man. You get training hours, and you can convert to cash. That's a bribe, folks. So live with that. You're gonna have to live with that. You're not going to be able to go home and say, oh, I did something right today. What you did is say, oh, I went home and I took about 3 or 4 bribes today. Because some politicians said, hey, we're going to regulate private property and you're going to go along with it. And I'm going to give you some money to go along with it. You good with that? Wink, wink, shake, shake. Sure, no problem, buddy. We got it. Don't worry about it. You just became uh, a bad cop. So bad it is. Prosecutor said, yeah, let's do that. Okay. Look at the Breonna Taylor case, right? Everybody knows about that in Louisville. One of the guys come out, okay, and said, one of the jurors came out and said, we didn't even have the option to charge the police officer with a homicide, because usually the prosecutor tells what kind of charge he wants. This goes all the way back to, we told you that the lawyers took over your grand jury. We told you that. And there it is, right in your face. We told you that was going to happen, and it happened. We told you Anna was going to use the word country in a couple of weeks, and she did. Predicted that with 100% accuracy. We told you that that this thing was a scam, that the COVID thing was a scam. We told you that WHO did not have, World Health Organization did not have the authority to do what they were doing. And we told you this is a way to set up the New World Order, that the New World Order was being set up through this thing. We told you there was a fake and a scam. Boom. 6 months later, it's all across the country and around the world that it was a fake and a scam. We've got about 7, 8 links on it. Now, where did those people get that information? They got it from us. That was from the Rain of the Heavens Society post. Okay, so we'll show you when we see it happen. We watch them do it. We'll expose it. We'll show you exactly what's going on. Give it about 6 months. Everybody else will figure it out. Thanks for listening to 199th broadcast of the T-ROH Show. We'll see you next week.